My mother-in-law stole my cancer medication because she didn't believe in it, so I let her think I was dying, then watched her lose everything. That evening, I'd just gotten back from a treatment at St. Luke's. It was my third round, the kind of round that leaves your fingertips numb and your tongue tasting like metal. The house was quiet, too quiet for 5:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. Normally, by now, Joanne would be halfway through her second mug of chamomile, watching reruns of some Healing Frequencies video on YouTube. But the living room was dark. The kettle was still warm. I just walked to the freezer and opened the drawer. Nothing. No silver strip. No white paper bag. No palbociclib. That medication was everything. 21 capsules per cycle. A single month supply cost $17,480 before insurance. Even after coverage, I paid nearly $1,900 out of pocket. Each pill was more expensive than our monthly car payment. It wasn't just medicine, it was hope. I checked the cabinet, the bathroom drawer, the top shelf in the pantry, where I sometimes put things to hide them from Joanne. Still nothing. Please, please don't let this be what I think it is. Out of desperation, I stepped into the garage and opened the big trash bin. I had to pull aside a paper bag from Trader Joe's, a greasy pizza box, and a bundle of wilted spinach. And there it was, my empty pharmacy bag, torn open, crumpled, the silver blister pack missing. My hands started shaking. I already knew who did it. Joanne had made her stance painfully clear the moment she arrived. She moved in a month ago after minor hip surgery. Matt said she needed help while recovering and couldn't afford a nurse. Just 2 or 3 weeks, he promised. She's still my mom. Joanne was 62, deeply tanned from her daily sun, rituals, wore only linen, and had the kind of self-righteous calm that made every conversation feel like a sermon. She didn't believe in pharmaceuticals, said cancer was caused by stagnant grief and industrial foods. Once told me, dead serious, that chemo was a government conspiracy. When I stepped into the kitchen, she was pouring something yellow and steaming from a ceramic teapot into a mason jar. The air smelled like turmeric and mildew. She looked up casually. Hey, honey, how was the appointment? I walked straight to her. Where are my meds? She didn't blink. You mean the pills in the freezer? I didn't answer. I didn't have to. I got rid of them, she said, wiping her hands on a towel. My mouth opened, but for a few seconds, nothing came out. You, what? I threw them away, she repeated, like it was an overdue chore. They're poison, Liv. You don't need them. I blinked, my voice shaking. Do you even know what those pills are? They're cell killers. That's what all of them are. You think your body can heal if you keep attacking it with lab-made toxins? My throat tightened. You flushed $17,000 worth of treatment because you read a blog post about spirulina? It's not just blogs, she snapped, suddenly defensive. There are whole communities, doctors even, who know the truth. You should thank me. Thank you? I almost laughed. She waved her hand like I was being dramatic. No, that's just the pharma brainwashing talking. Real healing comes from within. I've made you an infusion with astragalus, red clover, and garlic. That'll help your white cells. I just stared at her. You destroyed my treatment plan, Joanne. My oncologist approved that medication. You're not a doctor. No, but I am a mother, she said, chin raised. And mothers know when something's wrong. I've raised 2 kids through fevers and flu. I know what real healing looks like. This, she pointed vaguely toward the freezer, was never it. At that moment, all I could do was walk away, because if I stayed, I was going to scream. Matt came home just after 6. I met him in the hallway, still shaking. She threw out my medication, I said. She found it in the freezer and flushed it. He froze, keys still in his hand. What? She destroyed my cancer meds, Matt. His face twisted. Wait, are you sure? Maybe she just moved them? They're gone. Bags in the trash. She admitted it. Said she did it for my own good. He didn't say anything for a second. Then, Jesus, I crossed my arms. This is what I've been warning you about. She doesn't believe in medicine, remember? Last week she told me tumors are just emotional blockages. He rubbed his temples. Okay, I'll talk to her. No, Matt, she's not just annoying. This isn't forgetting to wash the dishes. This is criminal. She destroyed my treatment. She probably didn't mean harm, he mumbled. That stopped me cold. Are you defending her? No, I'm just trying to keep the peace. I stared at him. You can't keep the peace with someone who just sabotaged my health. He sighed, looked at the ceiling like it held the answers. Let me handle it, please. Then start by telling her to leave. I'll figure something out. He didn't. Not that night, not the next one either. Joanne stayed. She served soup made from reishi mushrooms and lectured me on epigenetic triggers. She acted like she'd performed some noble intervention, like I was the one in the wrong for being upset. And something inside me snapped, quietly. I stopped arguing. I let her believe I'd given up on treatment. I let her watch me grow weaker, or at least pretend to. If she wanted to believe her herbs were the only thing keeping me alive, then I'd let her watch what happened next. The first lie I told was that I'd canceled my next oncology appointment. The second was that I didn't want to fight anymore. I told Matt I needed space to process. I told Joanne maybe she was right, that if the cancer was going to win, it'd win regardless. That's when the mask slipped a little. I saw it in her face, a flicker of satisfaction. She wanted to be right more than she wanted me alive, so I gave her what she wanted. I started slow, letting my hair stay unbrushed, skipping breakfast, sighing when I stood up. Left the same bowl of lentil soup untouched on the kitchen counter 2 days in a row. When Joanne asked if I needed anything, I shook my head and smiled weakly. Just tired. She didn't press. At first. Then came the coughing. Quiet, shallow at first. Barely a whisper, then harsher. I started holding my stomach like it hurt, made sure Joanne saw the dark circles under my eyes. I even dimmed the bathroom mirror light to make my reflection look more sallow. Joanne stayed her usual sanctimonious self for a few days, but I noticed she stopped making her healing broth for me. She started hovering more in doorways. I caught her watching me nap from the hallway, her arms folded, her brow tight. By the end of the week, I pretended to forget what day it was. That got her attention. She sat me down with a mug of some murky green tea and said too loudly, "This is what the drugs would have done to you anyway. Your brain's just detoxing now. It's temporary. You'll feel stronger soon." I sipped the tea, gagged slightly, and said, "I think my gums are bleeding again." Her expression tightened. That Saturday, Matt's sister Lindsay came over with her 2 kids and her husband Eric. We were hosting dinner. Technically, Joanne was hosting. I was just the pale, shrinking woman at the end of the table. I wore a soft gray headscarf. Not because I had to, my hair hadn't fallen out, but it added effect. Lindsay's eyes widened when she saw me. "Oh my God, Liv." I smiled gently. "It's okay. Just a bad week." Even the kids stayed unusually quiet around me. At the table, Joanne took control, bragging about her herb garden, her healing circles, the power of spiritual realignment. But she kept glancing at me like I might faint onto the mashed potatoes. I let my hand tremble slightly as I passed the salad bowl. Matt tried to make a light conversation. "We've been looking at integrative clinics, just exploring all the options, you know." Lindsay gave him a worried look. "What happened to the treatment plan from St. Luke's?" Joanne cut in. "We decided it was time for a gentler approach." "We?" Lindsay raised an eyebrow. I cleared my throat and said softly, "It's funny. Someone threw out my medication. Still don't know how it happened, but maybe it was for the best." I didn't look at Joanne, but I could feel her stiffen across the table. "What do you mean? Someone threw it out?" Lindsay asked. I shrugged, playing dumb. "I left it in the freezer. Then it was gone. Maybe I made a mistake." "Doesn't matter now." Joanne dropped her fork. "Oh, for God's sake," she snapped. "Can we stop acting like this is some conspiracy? You said you wanted to stop. Don't rewrite the story now just because your sister-in-law's here." The table went silent. Even the kids stopped chewing. Matt looked like he'd been slapped. "Mom, no," she said, her voice rising. She agreed. She said she didn't want to poison herself anymore. I just supported that. I tilted my head, soft and slow. "You mean when you threw away my $17,000 prescription without asking?" Joanne turned red. "You said you were open to alternatives. Don't turn this into an attack just to make me look bad in front of your family." Lindsay stared at her. "You did what?" Joanne stood up, flustered. "This is ridiculous. Everyone's acting like I'm some villain when all I did was care. You know what? Keep your drama. I was trying to help." She stormed off to her room, muttering something about being ungrateful. Matt looked like he wanted to melt into the wall. Eric quietly reached for the wine. Lindsay leaned over to me and whispered, "That woman is not okay." I smiled thinly. "You have no idea." Later, after the dishes were done and the kids had fallen asleep on the couch, I sat on the back patio with Matt. The solar lights flickered over the garden Joanne planted last month. He exhaled deeply. "I'm sorry. I'm not mad," I said. Maybe this is what it's going to be like now. Maybe I need to start preparing for the end." He shook his head quickly. "Don't say that." "It's okay," I said. "I'm not scared of dying." And I wasn't. Not because I wasn't dying, but because I wasn't the one who needed to be scared anymore. I turned to him softly. "If it happens, at least it'll be on my terms. Some people can't say the same." He looked at me, confused. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I was in control again. It started with whispers. Joanne's circle, her church ladies, her yoga friends, even the woman she got beeswax candles from, began pulling back. No more midweek calls, no more invitations to her energy cleanse brunches. One by one, the people who used to stroke her ego fell silent. Someone, probably Lindsay, had told them what happened. And then Riley, Matt's cousin, the nurse, posted a vague but brutal status on Facebook. "If you tamper with someone's medication and they suffer for it, that's not healing. That's abuse." It got 147 likes in 2 hours. Joanne never got named, but people knew. She spent the next week on edge, snapped at the mailman, slammed doors louder, started using passive-aggressive little jabs on me when Matt wasn't in the room. Like when I left a bowl in the sink. Oh, I guess we're above doing dishes now? Or if I took too long in the bathroom. Don't worry, take your time. It's not like other people need basic hygiene. I didn't respond. I didn't have to. Because that Friday, things escalated fast. Matt got home from work to find 2 cops standing on our front porch. Apparently, someone had filed an anonymous report, suspected medical interference, alleged elder abuse, accusation of intentional harm. They asked questions, calmly but directly. Matt looked like a man about to collapse. I didn't know, he told them. I swear. I didn't know. She threw it out. Joanne panicked. Her voice got shrill. I didn't hurt anyone. I was trying to protect her from toxic chemicals. Have you even read the ingredients on those pills? One of the officers said quietly. Ma'am, this isn't a health debate. It's a legal matter. If the medication was prescribed and disposed of without consent, that could be a criminal offense. She turned to me, trembling. Tell them I didn't do anything wrong. I stared at her, dead calm. You took my medication and threw it out without telling me, I said softly. You believed you were saving me, but you never asked what I wanted. Matt had to sit down. The officers didn't arrest her, but they left with serious faces and stern warnings. Joanne tried to explain it all away, but her voice kept cracking. She started crying when they pulled out of the driveway. 2 days later, we got a visit from a social worker. Apparently, someone flagged our household in a welfare check after the police visit. We didn't have kids, but the report mentioned a high-conflict living situation involving medical negligence. Joanne packed a bag that night. She didn't say where she was going, just slammed cabinets and muttered things about being treated like a criminal for caring. Matt didn't stop her. She'll land at her sister's probably, he said, but I knew better. Joanne's sister hadn't spoken to her in years. Something about a money dispute and a ruined trip to Sedona. The kind of spiritual betrayal only Joanne could orchestrate. For the next week, our house was still. I took my meds in peace, slept better, ate real food. Matt apologized again and again, but I didn't want apologies. I wanted space. And just when I thought we'd finally seen the last of her, I got a call. It was from a woman named Bernice, from Joanne's old Holistic Moms group. Her voice was shaky. I just, needed to ask, is it true that Joanne destroyed your cancer treatment? I paused. Yes, it's true. A beat of silence, then a sigh. She came to my house yesterday, asking for a place to stay. Said she was misunderstood. I didn't know what to say. You don't owe her anything, I said. She made her choices. Later that day, I checked Facebook. Joanne's profile was gone, deleted or hidden. Her Etsy shop, Healing Hands by Jo, was also down. Her last 5-star review read, "Beautiful balm, but please don't give health advice to people you barely know." That's when it hit me. This wasn't just my revenge. Joanne was unraveling, socially and emotionally. And it wasn't because I screamed or threatened or sought punishment. It was because I let her believe, let her think I was dying because of what she did. And people noticed. Matt and I sat on the couch that night in silence. Finally, he said, "Do you hate her?" I thought for a long time, then said, "No, but I'm not sure she deserves forgiveness either." He nodded. We sat there until the sun dipped behind the fence she once used for drying her medicinal herbs. The next morning, I made a quiet call to my oncologist. "I'm ready to go back to full protocol," I said. "Let's do it by the book this time." Joanne resurfaced 2 weeks later via a community Facebook post. Not hers, someone else's. It was a blurry photo of her standing outside a church food pantry with a suitcase. The caption read, "Does anyone know this woman? She says she used to run energy circles, but lost her housing." Seemed confused. It had over 300 comments in a day. Some offered help, most did not. I didn't reply, but I read every comment. The ones that said, "Isn't that the lady who poisoned someone?" weren't true, of course, but they weren't entirely wrong either. Lindsay texted me the screenshot and just wrote, "She really did it to herself." Matt said nothing for 3 days. Then one night, he looked up from his phone and asked, "Do you think we should check on her?" I stared at him. "Do you want to?" "I don't know." That's when we finally had the talk. The one we'd been avoiding since the day she moved in. The one about boundaries, about how he let her stay, even when she was destroying something vital, about how his silence enabled her, and how I couldn't be the one to constantly protect myself from his mother and his indecision. He didn't cry, but his jaw tensed the way it does when he's swallowing shame. And he said, "You're right. We didn't talk about it again." I was 4 weeks into my renewed treatment cycle when Joanne showed up at our house. I heard the knock while folding laundry. I peeked out the front window, and there she was. Same floral dress, but stained now. Her hair looked like it hadn't been brushed in days. I opened the door halfway. She looked startled when she saw me, or maybe she expected someone else. I didn't know where else to go, she said quietly. I stepped outside and shut the door behind me. She looked down at her sandals. I lost my car, couldn't make the payments. The card I had, it got flagged. I've been staying at a friend's place, but she's moving, and I thought, she trailed off. I thought maybe I could stay here a few days, just until I find something. I waited. Then she added, I'm sorry. I raised an eyebrow. I didn't mean for it to go that far. I thought I was helping. I really believed I was saving you. I didn't respond. I see now that I was wrong, and I know I hurt you. I hurt all of us. I just can't take it back. Still, I said nothing. Her voice broke. I'm scared. I don't have anyone left. That last part hung there in the summer heat. I believed her. I did. But I also remembered the bowl of pills, torn open, the way she looked at me like my diagnosis was some moral failing, the smugness she carried when she thought I'd surrendered to her beliefs, how easily she'd played healer while destroying what actually kept me alive. I stepped back toward the door. She flinched slightly. Please, I just need a chance to... You had one, I said quietly, and then I shut the door. I didn't slam it. I didn't yell. I just closed it, firmly, finally. Matt watched from the kitchen window. He didn't say anything, just came over and wrapped his arms around me. Neither of us looked back out. In the weeks that followed, I started healing, not just physically, but truly. I made it through the next chemo cycle with almost no side effects. My scans were promising, my appetite came back, my color returned. People even said my laugh sounded louder. I got my life back, not because someone saved me, but because I refused to let someone else take it away. Joanne never came back after that day. Last I heard, she was staying with a woman she met at a wellness retreat in Santa Fe, teaching meditation, selling tinctures, probably still telling stories about how modern medicine ruins lives. Let her. I'm too busy living mine.